forefathers of downtown Los Angeles, was a philanthropist, real estate investor, and garment manufacturer. Hirsch, who passed away in 2003, was known for a straightforward approach as well as his contributions to the Jewish community and the city of Los Angeles.
It's just such a very special day for my dad and all of our family. A long history downtown, and he made such an impact, and it's just great to be part of that legacy.
Not only what I got from this was somebody who really, truly loved the city of Los Angeles and would do anything that he can to make it even better.
Council District 8 Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson and other city officials dedicated the new Manchester Neighborhood Greenway in South Los Angeles recently. This project converted an existing, neglected pathway to a low-maintenance green walkway. Other improvements include new native shade trees and tree wells, security fencing and gates, and solar-powered lighting for pedestrian safety. Officials say the new greenway will help capture urban runoff from the 110 freeway and surrounding streets, removing oil, grease, metals, trash, and other pollutants before returning filtered stormwater to the storm drain system.
Make sure that we eventually one day get to the point where all of our on-ramps and off-ramps are usable spaces that capture the water.
For many Angelinos, the wonders of the sea seem far away, but the truth is, they're right in our backyard. Rich Samuels has more.
It's a hermit crab in an odd shell.
At the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium in San Pedro, the sea is at our fingertips.
This is just a little small guy. He's a brown sea hare. Some days these guys are common out here, but I've done walks where one day we see like 20 of them, the next day we come out, we might find 2.
Carl Carranza, along with his colleagues at the aquarium, share the wonders of the tide pools near Point Furman.
We take people into our auditorium, do a slideshow to introduce them to the animals and the tide pools themselves, and then we take them out to the physical tide pools, which are about 300 yards away from the aquarium here.
Oh, they're huge. Touch it, it feels so sticky.
We've never actually been to tide pools. I lived in California pretty much my whole life, and I'm really excited to see what we're going to find.
The tide pools offer a protective habitat for a variety of animals and seaweeds, from feather boa kelp to the occasional octopus.
The more people are aware of all the different things that live in the ocean, the more likely they'll be inclined to help protect it.
From the Cabrillo Tide Pools in San Pedro, this is Rich Samuels for LA This Week.
The Cabrillo Marine Aquarium has been connecting Angelinos to the sea since 1935. We'll celebrate the people who are making visionary contributions to life in downtown LA. If you love vintage modern design, check out Downtown LA's Modernism Show and enjoy a country fair with a bohemian flair. That's all this in this week's Things to Do. On Memorial Day weekend, the Los Angeles Poverty Department is hosting the 2016 Walk the Talk Parade. Make your way over to Skid Row for this biannual parade that honors people who have made contributions to Skid Row and benefited the community in civil rights, housing, public health, and environmental issues. The parade will feature live performances and will start at USEP's corner space and end on the west side of Los Angeles Street. The walk takes place on Saturday, May 28th at 12 p.m. on Skid Row. For more, visit lapovertydept.org. Vintage modern design takes center stage during the biannual Downtown Modernism Show. Take a leisurely stroll through 5 acres of 20th century furniture and housewares. The show and outdoor modernism event will feature valuable vintage designs from shops and collectors and more than 60 dealers from California and beyond. There'll be specialty food and drink vendors on site, in addition to ample free parking. The show takes place on Sunday, May 29th at 2901 Seco Street in downtown LA. Visit downtownmodernism.com for more details. And get in touch with your bohemian side at the 43rd Annual Topanga Days Country Fair and Fundraiser for Topanga's Community House. Over the years, Topanga Days has grown into LA's Bohemian Rock Music Festival and has become so much more than just a fundraiser. The weekend festivities are a mainstay event that embody a music lover's way of life, welcoming new listeners and paying homage to the roots of Topanga's musical history. There's a belly dancing show by a local teacher, pie eating contests, kids games, and more. It'll all take place Saturday, May 28th through Monday, May 30th, at 1440 Topanga Canyon Boulevard. For more, visit topangadays.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
It all started that one day. I knew then my destiny. To have a career where I can achieve my best, where every day is different, where lifelong friendships are made, where I'm saving lives and inspiring others. My name is Mackenzie Vandergeest, and I am a Los Angeles firefighter.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
Good morning, good morning. Shh. If I could ask everyone to please take your seats. Today is Friday, May 27th. I want to welcome you all to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezar, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Weezar moves. Mr. Price seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Curran Price moves and Mr. O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Mr. President, item number 1 is an item notice for public hearing, and there are cards on that.
Okay, let's hold that item and continue.
Items 2 through 11 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Members, 2 through 11, specials. I don't see any. Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, items 12 through 16 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir. There are cards on 12, 13, 14, and 16.
Okay, let's vote on what's left. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. Rue?
4 and 5, could I pull a special? For 4 and 5.
And
Sorry.
you want to do what?
Pull a special on it? I'm sorry. I missed it.
We've already voted for those, so items 4 and 5. If we could vote on reconsideration, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, so now we'll hold those items. Mr. Bloomingfield, I think, or in fact, just let me make sure. Madam Clerk, does that bring us to presentations?
Yes, Mr. President, that does.
Thank you so much. I'd like to defer to Mr. Bloomingfield at this time.
I want to start by telling a little story of something that happened in Reseda. In March, there was a devastating robbery at Cleveland Charter High School. Thieves broke into Coach Gentle's office and stole $7,000 that the team had painstakingly raised for new equipment and the upcoming season. With no leads, it was on his shoulders to tell the team what had happened. This was not only a huge hit for the team, but for the whole community who had really put their shoulder in to get these needed funds. And, you know, Reseda is not a wealthy area. They spent a lot of time and energy making this happen. One of the parents went out on a limb and decided to contact our newest community member in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Rams, and explain what had happened and asked if they could help. And to her surprise, in just a few minutes, Mr. Demoff wrote back and said he'd have his people on it. Now, of course, when a parent at a local high school hears something like that, they may not know what to make of it. Are they just being told a tale, or what does that mean? But soon after the exchange, the Cleveland High School Cavaliers packed into their gym, not sure what was going to happen. With great fanfare, some arrangements were made behind the scenes. Great fanfare, including cheerleaders, TV cameras, the LA Rams defensive end Robert Quinn, along with the Rams mascot Rampage, appeared and revealed to the player a vast array of brand new equipment. The Rams had stepped up and taken care of the local community. Everything from helmets to cleats to gloves to pads were brought out, and the team was over the moon. With the help of Adidas and Game Breaker helmets, the student athletes now have the state-of-the-art equipment, and they are fully prepared to take on the next season. You know, out of tragedy comes triumph. Now, this is the first of what I know will be many examples of how the Rams will help our students and make Los Angeles even better. So, on behalf of the West Valley, on behalf of Cleveland High School, on behalf of all Angelenos who love football, on behalf of all Angelenos who love having great community members be part of the fabric of our city, I want to welcome the Rams family back to Los Angeles, thank them for making the lives of these students so much better. We have folks here from the Rams, and I want to know, you know, it's because of them that, and their organization's decision to come back to LA, we're hosting a Super Bowl in 2021. It's going to be the first Super Bowl the city has had in over 40 years. So I want to introduce the folks who are here and give them a chance to say a few words. We have here Kevin Demoff, the Vice President of Football Operations.
Let's give him a round of applause first. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
We have Kyle Eversgerd, who's the Director of External Football Operations. Molly Higgins, the Vice President of Corporate Communications and Civic Affairs. And we have Cleveland Charter High School Principal Cindy Duong. And so I'd like to start with Kevin, if you want to say a few words.
Thank you, Councilmember Blumenfeld. Certainly appreciate the honor and the presentation. It's great to be back at Los Angeles City Hall with the Los Angeles Rams back in the city and kicking off football this fall. But we couldn't be more proud to have worked with Cleveland High School and Game Breaker and Adidas to replace the equipment that was stolen from the team offices. And it's a reminder that while we'll be focused on our 16 Sundays a year and winning football games, that we're going to win off the field 365 days a year and make the difference in the lives of both our youth, our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools, especially through football and the development of that program. It's great to work with Kyle, who oversees all of our youth and high school football outreach, with Molly, who oversees all of our community affairs. And on behalf of our entire organization, we greatly appreciate this honor. We look forward to doing this a lot more. And we plan to make a commitment to this community that you will see us everywhere we can make a difference. Thank you.
Principal Duong, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Councilmember Blumenfeld. We wanted to just take this opportunity once again to thank the Rams organization for such an amazing opportunity for our school. It's the power of parent participation, community engagement, and just civic responsibility has made this opportunity happen for us, and our students, our staff, and our parents, and all of our stakeholders are grateful for that opportunity. Thank you very much.
You know, the Rams haven't even played a game yet in Los Angeles, and they are already making a difference in our community, and I'm so excited to have them in LA and to thank them for helping out a local high school. So let's give it up for them, and we'll take a nice photo.
Well, let's wait 1 sec. Mr. Blumenfeld, let's definitely give it up for them. But let's call on Mr. Krikorian before we proceed.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Blumenfeld, but this was such a great story. And, you know, sometimes when we hear things like this, we think, well, isn't that great that, you know, another good corporate citizen did something good for our community. And we don't necessarily get down into the weeds enough in thinking about what that actually means to the people, the young people that you affected. And so I just wanted to rise as a Cleveland Cavalier football player who graduated in 1977 myself. I can tell you that the experience that I had playing for that team at that school helped to set me on the path that I've taken throughout the rest of my life. And had you not stepped up and done this, who knows how many of those young people might not be able to participate, what cutbacks there would have to be in the team in other areas. It's more than just helping with money, helping with equipment. You're actually helping to shape the future direction of young people's lives. So thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Blumenfield, for bringing them forward.
And many of those young people grow up to work in City Hall. In fact, 2 of those Cavaliers are on my staff. Elizabeth Ann over there. She was also a cheerleader for the team. Imagine if your team had this amazing equipment when you were there. And Safi Loden on my staff, also a Cleveland Cavalier. So we're really grateful, and you guys are part of the community. And so please accept this small token of appreciation from the City of Los Angeles.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you. Thank you so very much. At this point, I'd like to call on Mr. O'Farrell for our next presentation. Mr. O'Farrell, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Good morning. I want to welcome the Beverly Press and the Park La Brea News to City Council chambers for a celebration of their 70 years in publishing. Round of applause, please. I am joined by my colleagues David Rue and Paul Koretz, also City Attorney Mike Fewer and County Assessor Jeff Prang, along with Beverly Press publishers Michael and Karen Villalpando, and their various journalists who provide in-depth reporting on community news, which is sorely lacking in this day and age. So thank you, Park La Brea News and Beverly Press. Published weekly in Hollywood, The Miracle Mile, Hancock Park, and West Hollywood since 1946. Michael and Karen Villalpando are the publishers of the newspapers and have owned and operated the weekly publication since 1990. The papers have grown from 3,000 circulation bi-weekly newspapers to 13,000 paid circulation newspapers delivered weekly with its media partners, the Los Angeles Times. Every Thursday, the Park La Brea News and Beverly Press arrive on your doorstep, bringing you the most up-to-date news and information about your community. Now, I would love it if you would expand to the rest of my district, because the neighborhoods in my district are sorely lacking in quality local news reporting. So please come on over to Glassell Park, Echo Park, Silver Lake, Atwater Village, East Hollywood. We need you, and we will support you. We have a few representatives in the city who want to share in celebration of your local paper. And I'm going to start with City Attorney Mike Fewer. He is pressed on time and has to get back to work. So, Mike.
Thank you, man.
You bet.
Mr. President, members of the council, I wanted to be here on a very busy day because I had the opportunity as a state legislator, many of you had this opportunity as well, to name small businesses of the year in your districts. And I had the chance to name the Park La Brea News Beverly Press as our small business of the year in my former assembly district, because as a weekly reader of the newspaper, I can tell you that it manages to be both topical and timely, entertaining and provocative all at the same time. It is a terrific example of what is unfortunately a dying breed, and that is the local newspaper that is well read and successful. You're really an example of the best of what our print media can be. And I had to be here for a moment to acknowledge that you were that business of the year just a few years ago, and you've only gotten better since. So, Michael and Karen, congratulations. You have a terrific reporting staff, some of whom are here today. Let you continue this success for many years to come. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. And now I'd like to invite our County Assessor, Jeffrey Prang, to say a few words. Jeffrey. Oops. Sorry.
Mr. President, council members, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this morning. I'm really proud to be able to join you in honoring my good friends, the Villalpandos, in the Park La Brea Beverly Press. We worked closely with them during my 18 years on the City Council. They're truly an exceptional community newspaper at a time when there's just a dearth of local news, and some of the news that's available are overly opinionated blogs. They continue to practice the highest form of journalism, and if you live in their coverage area, you know what's going on in terms of news, politics, culture, arts, and restaurants. It's an exceptional community newspaper, and I'm proud to join all of you in honoring them for 70 years of publication. Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thanks, Jeff. And the Beverly Press Park La Brea news circulation spreads into several council districts, and one of them is Council District 4, led by our colleague David Rue.
Thank you, Councilmember O'Farrell, and good morning, Council President and colleagues. I am honored to be here today to celebrate a huge milestone in our community, the 70th anniversary of Park La Brea News and Beverly Press. I think you cover a majority of my district. And since 1946, these papers have served the residents of Miracle Mile, Hancock Park, Hollywood, Fairfax District, and West Hollywood. Through the years, Beverly Press has grown to a readership of over 13,000 paid circulation newspapers delivered weekly, and with media partners like the LA Times. As the only weekly community paper in Council District 4, the Beverly Press serves a vital news source for the quality of life issues affecting our neighborhoods. It goes without saying, journalism and local news coverage play an important role in our communities, bringing the most up-to-date information and news from our arts, cultures, to concrete streets and tree trimming. The Beverly Press is well known for being balanced, thorough, and authentic to the greater Wilshire communities. And I concur with Councilman O'Farrell that you guys do very good investigative reporting. And a special thanks to Michael and Karen Villapandoa, and also they're joined by their daughters Rebecca and Emily in their leadership for these past 2 decades. Since 1990, the two of them have taken over the reins and continued in this long tradition of a community-run paper. This is no small feat, and congratulations, and here's to another 70 years, serving the areas of Park La Brea, Miracle Mile, Hancock Park, and the West Hollywood communities. Thank you.
And another great council district served by this publication is Council District 5, led by our colleague Paul Koretz.
Well, thank you, Mitch. For people not served by this newspaper, you probably can't understand how good it is. And it's not one of a dying breed. I've never actually run across another paper like this that is a weekly paper in a community, and yet it's better than the LA Times. It's better than the Daily News, especially in terms of local coverage. I can miss a day of those papers, but I never miss my copy of the Beverly Press. And I've been fortunate enough for this to be my local paper for 32 years in West Hollywood and a few blocks away now in CD5. And it's just a great source of news. And they don't really engage in gotcha journalism. It's just good, objective journalism. They ask the right questions. And it's just a great paper. And I believe if the LA Times and other papers go the way that they may or may not, this paper will always still be there because of the kind of journalism you do, the kind of local stories you do, the great staff that you have, the great ownership you have, especially folks like Ed Fulvin and Greg Confield. And Ed's been there for a long time. I mean, it's very rare that you get someone who's this good a journalist that sticks with a newspaper like this for this long. And it's just been amazing. So I appreciate the fact that you've been there 70 years. About half of that has been as my local paper. And I congratulate you on the great journalism that you provide. And hopefully we'll see this for another 70 years. I won't be around to see that, but I'll be around for some of it. Thank you.
You may very well be involved. So, print publications, I hope you're listening. When the Beverly Press and Park La Brea News call my office, I get right on the phone with them every single time because they have so much integrity and we respect them so much. Their coverage, all the things that have been said today are very, very true. And we make ourselves available to them because of the integrity and quality of their reporting. And that is no accident. And that's not always the case with other publications, let me just tell you. So I want to thank all of my colleagues. And now, please help me congratulate the Park La Brea News and Beverly Press on 70 years of service. And we will now hear remarks from publisher Michael Villalpando.
Thank you. I left my glasses somewhere.
Oh, you don't mind?
They're right there.
Right there. Can you grab them?
Okay.
Thanks.
There you go.
Anyway, in 1990, Karen and I had been married for about a year and a half, and we decided to roll the dice and buy the Park La Brea News. We knew it was a good bet because it had a solid foundation and a solid readership and a very good history. And today we are very happy to tell you that the newspaper is healthy, strong, and thriving. One of the things that is very important to us is that while we have been at the helm for the last 26 years, we know that what we do is for the service of the community, and we never forget that. So it's very important to us to gather the news, report it, and get it out to our readers on a timely basis and make sure that it is always totally, as much as we can possibly guarantee it, accurate and timely. So with that, I want to say thank you very much to all of you folks that are here and honoring the newspaper, and thank you. Here's Karen.
You bet.
And I just wanted to add to say thank you to our staff for their hard work and dedication. Gregory Cornfield, Edwin Fulvin, Tim Posada, Jill Weinlein, and Andy Kitchen. I would also like to thank our family and friends for being here, our daughters Emily and Rebecca, and special thank you to Jeff Prang and City Attorney Mike Fuhrer for being here. It means a lot to us, and to our City Council members that we interact with every single week. We really appreciate your comments today, and I'm very grateful. For 70 years, the newspaper has navigated through prosperous and lean times, through joyful celebrations and challenging moments. Thank you to our readers and our community leaders for your support. We look forward to continuing the legacy of your local newspaper for the next 70 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So in the spirit of incredible journalistic integrity and value of the free media for all, we honor today Park La Brea News and Beverly Press on their 70th anniversary. Congratulations. We'll go back too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Please collect your belongings. You'll be exiting out the back. Thank you. I'm probably going to call one more. So we're good.
Okay, before we go to our next presentation, I would like to present to the members of the council the Mid-Cities Prescott Elementary School. Their elected student body is with us today. Could you give them a round of applause? Their principal, where's Principal Panis? Where's the principal? There, come on, let's I want to get you in a shot. First of all, and I want to take a minute, members, sitting next to me, come here, if I could get closer, give me a wide shot. I have with me the president of the Mid-City Prescott Elementary School. And I'm going to ask President Abigail Metis to say a few words. Just say your name and how old you are, and you're excited to be here.
Hello, my name is Abigail Meras. I am the student body president from Mid-City, and I'm really excited for being at City Hall.
That's good. That's what you call a 10-year-old that is very quick on her feet. So anyway, one more round of applause for Prescott Elementary School on Adams and Arlington in the district that I'm blessed to represent. Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye, world.
All right. Bye, world. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Jose Huizar for a presentation.
Hello, how are you guys? Welcome to City Hall. First time here? Welcome. Thank you, Mr. President, and it gives me great pleasure to be here today and to recognize STEM Academy of Boyle Heights for their hard work and huge impact in the community of Boyle Heights and beyond. I want to thank Principal Adriana Trejo for her and her administration's outstanding work. Principal Trejo could not be here today, but we are very fortunate to be joined by teachers Leo Magallon and Israel Hernandez. And thank you both for being here and for your considerable efforts on highlighting these wonderful students. Colleagues, a little over 3 years ago, Roosevelt High School in Boyle Heights made the choice to combine the 7 small schools that existed on the campus to one larger school. However, a few passionate and dedicated teachers from the STEM school decided to start a pilot school with an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It has since grown from a small class of 9th graders to a much larger group consisting of 9th through 11th, which will grow to have its first senior class next year. And in only 3 years, STEM Academy of Boyle Heights has managed to leave their mark in competitions at a very high level, receiving numerous awards and high rankings in elite international competitions and putting Boyle Heights on the STEM map. Their first year, they competed in the Mathematical Engineering, Science, and Architecture competition and won first place. In their first year, they competed in the Mathematical Engineering, Science, and Architecture competition and won first place. And I repeated that because I think they deserve a round of applause for that. They also started building an electric car, which has been a big showstopper at Council District 14 events. Since they began competing, the STEM Academy has adopted a team name, Los Stemateros. Stemateros. It's not Los Tomateros, it's Stemateros. There's a baseball team by the end, right? And Los Stemateros have been on the rise in each competition they have entered. They placed 33rd out of 62 teams at their first robotics competition before making it to the quarterfinals. They earned the Rookie Inspiration Award for their outstanding success in gaining the respect of the engineering judges. At their second robotics competition, they dramatically improved and were ranked 4th out of 42 teams and made it to the finals in that competition. They earned 3 awards for their excellence, including Highest Seeded Rookie Award, Rookie Inspiration Award, and Ventura Regional Finalist. They also recently participated in their first Cyber Patriot competition in software engineering, where they won the first place Gold Medal Award. Congratulations. These young people are living proof that given the opportunity, our kids can rise to the occasion and perform to the highest level of their God-given potential. Of course, none of this is possible without their great teachers. And thank you, teachers, for your vision, passion, and the high standards you have set these students to, and they are achieving that. We want to thank our teachers in particular for the number of volunteer hours that they put into making sure our students are well prepared. And of course, the elements to a student's success includes parents. This program, this school has had a large contingent of parents who are involved in every step of the way. We want to thank the parents for encouraging their children to work hard and follow their dreams. They have volunteered, supported at competitions, and provided moral support for them to reach all the success they have done in 3 short years. To the STEM Academy students, the City of Los Angeles honors you here today because you all inspire us. You show us what is possible when you put your mind to something, and you show us what is possible, that despite the odds and the many obstacles we sometimes have to get through, everything is possible. And for that, we congratulate you today and give you a huge round of applause, and in a little while, a great resolution. Congratulations. Now, it gives me a great honor to introduce teacher Leo Magallon, who will share a few words with your indulgence, Mr. President. Leo, welcome.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Huizar, thank you very much for recognizing us. Just one additional thing that I'd like to add. 2 weeks ago, we were actually awarded a 3-year accreditation by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which is the highest recognition that we could get being a new school. That not only means that we're able to graduate our first senior class next year, but it speaks volume of the hard work and dedication by our students, our parents, and obviously our teachers as well. Mr. Huizar also mentioned that in our Ventura Regional competition for the first robotics competition, we were the second place team. The team that actually beat us ended up being the world champions. We took them to the brink of elimination and we fought till the end. So now a team from Boyle Heights, we have teams from Orange County, we have teams from San Marino, from Santa Barbara, from San Diego that want to come to our neighborhood to work with us. Who could say that at a little neighborhood, 6.5 square miles, we have people from around the world taking notice of us and really wanted to work with us. And when we first opened our school in the fall of 2014, we were just 6 teachers that really were trying to fill a need in the neighborhood. And without a real STEM school in the neighborhood, we decided that, hey, we just don't want to jump on the STEM bandwagon and just say, let's open a STEM school and let's talk the talk. At our school, we like to walk the walk as well. So we make sure that our students, during the school day, we implement a nationally recognized STEM curriculum where students get exposure to 3D modeling during the day. Students get exposure to robotics during the day. And then, as Mr. Huizar mentioned, we take it outside of the neighborhood. We make sure that we take our students beyond Boyle Heights so they can explore the possibilities and really realize what's out there. So our students that are standing behind me, these are the real superstars. They've proven not only to our school that they're real leaders, they've proven to the neighborhood, and they're really pioneers for the city of Los Angeles of the great talent that we have in the east side and in the city of Los Angeles. With that said, thank you for the time and having us here. Just know it's not the last you're ever going to hear from us. But with all of your help and all of your support, we'll continue to move forth and forever forward. So thank you very much. Si se puede. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. So I asked a few of the students. I didn't have a student to speak on my notes here, but I voluntarily, I asked who would want to volunteer. We have a young man here who said he wants to say a few words. If you could state your name and share a few words. Thank you.
Okay, my name's David. I'm a sophomore at STEM Academy of Boyle Heights. Just would like to thank all of you guys for recognizing us. It's been a fun experience going to this school. I'm really looking forward to my junior and senior year. Thank you.
All right. I can tell you, as someone who grew up in Boyle Heights, who still lives in Boyle Heights, it's great to see these young students achieve what they're achieving. And when you think about STEM and everything else that comes with it, it's something that hasn't really been, the Boyle Heights community hasn't really been exposed to it. And I really want to thank Roosevelt and the teachers and the parents for pushing this forward, and particularly the students. I'm really, really proud of you and all you've achieved. Keep going. Adelante, si se puede, and we're here to let you know the City of Los Angeles is behind you. Thank you so much, and congratulations on behalf of the City of LA.
Congratulations. So, members, it's my understanding, and Mr. Rue, correct me if I'm wrong, that all of the questions have been answered on item number 4 so that we can vote on that item at this time. So item 4 is before this body. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And Mr. Blumenfield, it's my understanding that we have a special visitor that got here and you need to acknowledge, so I'd like to give the floor to you, sir.
Well, you know how I always complain about traffic coming from the West Valley. It can take me an hour and a half. Well, Coach Gentle from Cleveland High School is here. We had that great presentation with the Rams. He's the coach of the team that lost all that equipment that the Rams came through. And he did make it here, so I wanted to acknowledge Coach Gentle because he's an important part of our community. So, Coach, thank you so much for being here. And
Coach, thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Blumenfield, the coach looks like a player. I mean, he looks, we could put one of those new helmets on you, Coach, and I think you could run down the field. At this point, I'm looking for, Miss Martinez. I'd like to recognize Miss Martinez for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I want to welcome to City Hall. Boys and girls, please stand up. I want to welcome the Alta California Elementary School, the Student Leadership Program.
All right.
From Panorama City. Wave, you're on TV.
Smile, you're on TV.
They're the Student Leadership Program at Alta California Elementary School, and their teacher is here, Mrs. Cynthia Lowe. Wave, Mrs. Lowe, thank you so much. She's a facilitator of the program, and she teaches these young leaders about the importance of community involvement. I also want to thank the parent that came along on the field trip. Her name is Araceli Rosas. Are you here? Thank you very much for accompanying the children this morning. I welcome you to City Hall. I hope you enjoy your field trip.
One more round of applause. Welcome, young people. I would like to call on Mr. Marquise Harris Dawson at this time for, I believe, today's last presentation.
Members, I would ask my colleague, the one and only Councilmember David Rue, to join me as we together join in the celebration of Asian Pacific Heritage Month here in the city of Los Angeles. First, I want to start by congratulating Councilmember Rue for putting on a great set of events, starting with a great opening ceremony before recess and an awesome concert this weekend, Pacific Bridge here at City Hall, featuring lots of Asian American artists, but Janai Aiko. I think he deserves a big round of applause for that, Mr. David Rue. But today, David joins me to, in our recognition of Asian Pacific Heritage Month, we're recognizing SEIU Local 2015 long-term care workers and some of the union's Asian leadership team. We want to honor you and celebrate and have you be a part of the celebration of Asian Pacific workers to America and Los Angeles' labor movement. They've been part of the labor force for over 150 years, from building our railroads, working in our mines, developing our fishing and canning industries, and planting some of the very first crops in California's Central Valley. Often forgotten is the Chinese American railroad workers who organized the first strikes in the 1800s, the masses of Japanese Americans that joined Mexican American farm workers to organize the first farm workers' strikes in our country in the early 1900s, and the Filipino farm workers that started the historic grape strike along with Mexican farm workers that changed the course of history in the United States. Today, that history and that tradition continues. SEIU plays a pivotal role in that movement. It's a local with some of the highest number of Asian American workers and Asian American women especially. And I just want to thank you because you all are on the front lines of doing some of the most important work, not only in my district but across the city. You go into folks' home, provide care for them so that they can continue to live a fruitful life and be great members of society. And in addition to that, when you have some time off, you participate in a mass movement to raise the wage of workers across the city of Los Angeles to $15 an hour, whether they're in a union or not. And so I want to congratulate you today, along with my colleague, David Rue, and I'll ask him to come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Marquis Harris Dawson. Good morning, Council President and fellow council members. In the spirit of celebrating Asian Pacific Heritage Month, I am honored to highlight a group of very hardworking individuals that often go unrecognized, the API Home Caregivers. Home caregivers play a critical role in our communities at the home and in the field. Caregivers at times are the first responders to crisis situations. They are brave and work tirelessly to treat our loved ones. Furthermore, their often unrecognized contribution to our economic engine must be highlighted. They allow for families who are often working in lower income households to work in 2 or 3 jobs while they know that their loved ones back at home are taken care of. Moreover, in the case of Local 215, the experiences of the Asian American home caregivers are unique and complex due to their linguistic skills, status, and immigration experience. I am proud to be a good friend of SEIU, and I congratulate SEIU Local 215 for their advocacy. On behalf of the API home health caregivers and thousands of long-term care workers, their families, and communities, thank you for all your commitment to advocating for all workers, especially those most vulnerable and underrepresented. Thank you.
So we have 2 speakers from our SEIU local. The first is Suk Kim. Welcome.
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 김숙. 자랑스러운 SEIU 로컬 2015 멤버입니다.
Good morning. My name is Suk Kim, and I am a proud member of SEIU Local 2015.
저는 장기간 간병인으로 18년째 일해왔고 개선하고 발전하기 위해 우리의 기준을 향상하고 발전시키기 위해 지난 4년 동안 최저임금 15불을 위해서 그리고 생활비를 향상시키고 좀 더 좋은 삶의 질을 높이기 위해서 노력해왔습니다.
I've been a long-term care worker for the past 18 years, and I've been working towards the improvement of working standards, increasing livable wages, and the right for minimum $15, and a union for over 4 years.
저는 한국에서 태어났고 미국엔 22살에 많은 커다란 꿈을 가지고 미국에 왔습니다.
I was born in South Korea, and when I was 22 years old, with a lot of dreams, I immigrated to the United States of America.
저는 씁쓸 달콤한 것을 직면했습니다. 이 나라에서의 기회를 저희 나라보다 훨씬 더 많지만 그래도 저의 제한된 영어 때문에 부당하게 대우를 제대로 받지 못했습니다.
When I came to this country, I was confronted with bittersweet reality. While I understood that my opportunities in this country was far more than the country where I was from, I also understood because of my limited English, I became a subject of exploitation and mistreatment at the workplace.
최근 이민자들은 자주 피해자가 되는데 노동 착취, 인간매매, 또 강제 제압받을 때가 많습니다.
Many new immigrants that come to this country often fall victims to sweatshops, human trafficking, and also in some cases illegal slavery.
우리 문화사회에서 본래부터 올바르지 않는 것이 있다는 것을 빨리 알아챘습니다. 그래서 결심했습니다. 유니언 멤버로서 열심히 일하겠다고.
So then I quickly understood the mistreatment that was going on in the society, and I understood that for myself to work to work harder as a worker, but also become very active as an active worker and become a labor union leader.
그래서 단지 노동자로서 일하는 것이 아니라 적극적으로 활동하고 업자들의 지도자가 되기로 결심했습니다.
So then therefore, like I said, I wanted to be an active worker to represent the union leader and become a union leader.
저는 장기 간병인을 자랑스럽게 생각하고 또한 저희 직종에서 일하고 있는 멤버들이 자랑스럽게 생각하지만 사회에서는 저희들을 인정해주지 않을 때가 많습니다.
I am a proud worker as a home care worker, but this is an industry where we are often devalued and underappreciated.
장기간 간병인들이 조합을 조직할 가능성이 없다고 했을 때 우리는 그들이 틀렸다는 것을 입증하고 가장 힘있고 큰 조합을 만들었습니다.
We were told that we would be impossible for home care workers to organize organize and build a union, but we wanted to prove them wrong, and we did form a union.
목소리가 없는 사람을 위해서 우리의 소리를 내고 우리의 뜻을 밝힙니다.
We are voicing for people who are not able to voice, and we form one of the most powerful and largest lawn care workers union in the state of California.
우리 노동자들이 함께 일하고 협조하여 행진하고 조직해서 존엄성과 존경을 요구합니다.
We're working hard, we're working together shoulder to shoulder with my brothers and my sisters, and we are demanding for dignity and respect as what we do, the work that we do.
아직도 할 일이 많고 저는 기쁘게 합니다. 기쁘게 하겠습니다. 서로 어깨를 나란히 하고 SEIU 로컬 2015와 함께 노력하고 앞으로 나가겠습니다. 감사합니다.
I am working very hard, and I'm really excited about what we are going to do, and I know that we have lots of work to do. We work together, we help each other, we march, picketed, and organize, and I am proud to say that I'm a member of SEIU Local 2015, and thank you very much for hearing my voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can all understand the passion and vigor of a good union organizer. Next, we want to bring up Julie Chow.
How
are you all this morning?
I'm Julie Chow.
I'm Julie Chow. I came from China, the province of Guangdong. I want to thank you all and really appreciate that you give us the opportunity to stand before you. Yeah, we Chinese are very appreciative and very thankful for this opportunity. I've been a home care worker for the last 14 years. And I've been involved in the union and all the other works for the last 14 years. I'm home taking care of my parents all these years. And I have to take care of everything for them all day, like bathing, washing, cooking for my parents. I want to make sure that they are comfortable staying at home, being taken care of by me. And this way, they don't have to go to the doctor when there is a problem. And this will be very helpful to them and to the government. I know if I were to send them to the seniors' homes, it's probably going to cost them $7,000 to $8,000 a month. Yeah, in this way, we can save the government, the agencies, a lot of money. And because of that, I feel that it's very important that our job, what we are doing, this is not only saving the government money and also provide employment to a lot of people, and in turn, they can become a citizen filing taxes. I remember one time when my father was sent to the hospital. And the doctor told me tomorrow he has to be checked out. He's going to go back home to be taken care of by you. And it was a struggling experience for me that time because the next day I have a very important function with the union, and I negotiated. I talked to the doctor about it. And the next day I had to take a lot of people to join a function and marching. The next day, the event was I have to take a lot of the members to march for the better wages for the workers, and it was very important for me to be there as a leader.
咁醫院都答應咗我，遲一日我先帶我爸爸翻屋企。
And the doctor agreed, said I can take my dad home another day.
咁我仲打電話俾我先生，咁我先生係咁話嘅，佢話你連爸爸都唔要㗎啦咁嘅。
So I called home and told my husband about it, and he was not very happy because he told me, you put everything before your dad. This is really something that I couldn't understand.
因為我哋喺80年代嗰個時候，我哋嘅工資只係3個幾銀錢一個小時。
I remember in the 80s, home care workers only earned about $3 an hour.
咁啊，90年代嗰時呢就4蚊2毫半一個小時。
And beginning of the 90s, the workers were earning about 4 1/4 an hour.
咁呢，好彩我哋有工會，咁啊工會呢帶領我哋每月去 Sacramento 去市府、縣政府。去示威遊行，同埋同政府合同談判。
So the good thing is we had a union behind us to support us to go to Sacramento to fight for better wages, better working conditions, and by doing that, we were able to win a lot of victories.
喺舊年，我哋工會帶領我哋每個星期都喺縣政府門口嗰度即係出咗好多力啦，日四雨淋。出咗好多嘅渾水，咁嚟克服重重嘅困難，經歷過好多嘅努力，咁我哋嘅工資就加咗啦。
I remember last year we were protesting and marching before the Supervisors Council in the front and fighting for better wages. After a lot of sweat and tears and walking under the sun, we were able to fight and struggle. After a lot of struggle, we won better wages.
通過工會帶領我哋咧，咁上個月咧，阿州長咧又簽一個議案，通過咗15蚊一個小時。
And after all these fights, all these years, last month the governor signed the $15 an hour wage increase.
但係我哋嘅工資係跟唔上我哋嘅生活水平嘅。
But then we know that this is not a living wage for us.
咁我哋嘅住屋啦，同埋買食物係非常之貴嘅。
And right now the housing and the food prices are so high.
咁我哋要繼續努力，我哋爭取更好嘅未來。多謝。
So we have to keep fighting for a better living condition, better living wage. Thank you.
Thank you all. So on behalf of Councilmember Ryu and myself and the entire LA City Council and Mayor, this is a commendation to SEIU 2015 for your amazing Asian Leadership Program. Thank you all so much.
All righty, congratulations. Okay, we're going to move to item 5. It's my understanding the concerns on item 5 have been dealt with. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
If we could now recess the regular meeting and go into the special, Madam Clerk, you'll call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Ryu, Wesson, 15 members and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Englander.
President, I just wanted to let my colleagues know that I will be voting no on this, and why. We have to find revenue streams. There's absolutely no question, and we've made it a priority to find those revenue streams for dealing with homelessness, mental health, drug and alcohol addiction, and we've got to do that. We're at a crisis. And this is not against coming up with some type of, and I've seen the polling on a millionaire's tax. This creates a new and opens a door for an income tax for municipalities, whether they're cities or counties, and looking at counties, which is right now and currently against state law. There is pending legislation, and this is what this is to support that change, which is opening up a whole new tax structure that doesn't exist today. And we already have a very difficult environment in which to operate. And so this is a new structure, a tax structure and a scheme that doesn't exist, and only the beginning, because once that does take place, for municipalities to come up with some kind of income tax structure, that's a game changer. And so this is only opening that door that doesn't exist today, and I have some serious concern over that. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Mr. Bonnet.
Thanks, Mr. President. I rise to say that I hope this door opens. I welcome it opening. I'm there to bang on the door and try to make it open. We've got a tremendous, phenomenal crisis, and I think our partners at Los Angeles County, led by Mark Ridley Thomas and Sheila Kuehl, have done some very good work in determining a way to fund homelessness in a way that would do something that is very important to the city of Los Angeles. If this measure were approved and the money were distributed proportionately to every city in the county, it would do something very significant. It would get every city in this county to have skin in the game in solving homelessness. Not just all eyes on the city of Los Angeles, but it would get everybody engaged. It's also very important to note that Mr. Ridley Thomas and Ms. Kuehl have done some polling on this, and that it polls in some places over 80% in favor, mostly in the 70s. It's enormously popular, and it is our best bet to get something done. And I think we have a narrow window where the population and the electorate in Los Angeles County is willing to invest in these solutions, and I think it would be unwise for us to let that opportunity pass. So I urge an aye vote on this. Thank you.
Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members. I rise to ask for your enthusiastic support of this measure. We understand that all of us want to hold the line on our payment to the government to get services done. There are extraordinary situations that call for extraordinary measures. I think 50,000 people living on the streets of our county every night is such an extraordinary situation, and so we are asking the state to take the step, the very American step, of letting the voters decide if they want to make such an investment. And so that's what this measure does, and that's what we're asking you to support today. Thank you.
Mr. Cedillo.
Let me, if I may, put some context to this. We took an important trip to the Capitol on Monday, and this is part of a menu that the legislature is considering. So it's not the only one, but it is part of a menu that the legislature and the governor are considering. They have different points of views on it. There are other aspects. So the Senate is looking at a bond of $2 billion. If we get our 40% of that, that's $800 million for us here. The Assembly is looking at $1.3 billion. If we get our 40%, that is 500. I don't know. Somebody do the math for me. 600. What was the math on that? A lot. Yeah, it's plenty. And that's part of a menu. I think I think the effort here is to try to look at everything that's on the menu. When we were there this week, we were asking for flexibility, and we're looking for ways, and I think the most compelling argument here is that we're looking for ways for everyone in Southern California to be involved on the issue of homelessness. And SB 2 is one of those ways. We've had that on the books for a while. The bond will also be part of that. It's important for us to get all the other cities of the county engaged in this. And they won't be engaged if they don't have mandates and directives. They won't be engaged if they don't have resources to participate. And so this is simply part of a broader menu that will be evaluated both by the Senate and the Assembly, and then be evaluated by the governor. And so this simply articulates that component part of the menu. There are other aspects, as I indicated, that are before the legislature. The 1.3 is very important for us because it delineates various programs that we have that will mirror that. And then, as I said, the $2 billion is very important for us because we need to be able to move towards the full servicing of the mentally ill, and we've asked for the broadest definition to include emancipated youth, youth leaving institutions, women who are victims of domestic violence, drug and alcohol treatment, and then the traditional thoughts and ideas of who the mentally ill are. So again, as I have indicated, this is one of a menu of several programs that are being discussed in the legislature.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, as we all are aware, the city adopted a strategic plan on how we will address homelessness, and it's long, long overdue. The recent numbers on homelessness, as you all are aware, have continued to increase, and we got to treat this as the emergency and crisis that it is. We need action both from the county and the city. And as we have seen, we are working with the county in historically unprecedented ways where we are now coordinating how we're going to move forward on this. Marquise, our chair, Harris Dawson, our chair from our homelessness committee, has been in conversations with the county about how do we coordinate this millionaire's tax along with some of the efforts we have been doing in committee to go forward with either a bond or other options that we have before us. This allows us to move forward in a coordinated fashion with the county, and should this be successful, some negotiations will take place with the county as to how does the city fit in with this. But we're hoping that this may be one of our priorities in moving forward and asking the voters to fund both the county and the city strategic plans. If this doesn't go through, we will continue moving forward with other options. But as discussed in committee, this is our priority, and hopefully this does move through. We hope that some action is taken in November. We can't wait any longer. The poll after poll after poll keeps telling us that the voters, the constituents, the residents of the city of LA see homelessness as the #1 priority that people want the city to address. And the timing is right to do something quickly. Hopefully we could get behind this if it moves forward, and time is of urgency. We hope that through this motion it helps shed light to the state legislature and the governor that the city of LA is on record hoping to move something quickly in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let us prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes, 1 no.
Mr. Previn, you're going to have to quit interrupting the meetings. You know the rules, and this was heard in committee. Public comment has been satisfied. On this item, can we vote, Mr. City Attorney, to send this super forthwith?
You may.
Okay, then let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes, 1 no.
That's super forthwith.
And just for the record,
yes.
Urgent forthwith. But
Urgent. Well, I like it super. Urgent, super forthwith. Let's adjourn this and return to the regular. Adjourn the special and return to the regular. Take up item 1. Mr. Walsh on item 1.
Minute 1.
Mr. Walsh, no hollering. Okay? No yelling into the mic.
Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Here we have, as usual, this is issuance of bonds, $15 million in bonds to the yeshiva. Los Angeles Boys School. If they were black, they wouldn't have got a dime. But they're the right religion. This is 1 minute. Actually, I'm giving you 20 seconds. 1 minute.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Mr. Walsh, don't go anywhere. We're doing item 12. Mr. Walsh, item 12.
Minute 2. This is item 12. This is the REAP account, rent escrow account program. When you do a good job for renters, I am the first to congratulate you here in this dangerous city hall. I would like to thank you for all the work you've done for renters, going way back to Mayor Bradley, who I knew personally. We're still in minute 2 now, unless the city clerk wants to deny it. And we're doing this is rent escrow account. I'm not one of those white guys. Bunch of crooks. I think when you do a good job, you should be said you do a good job. And when you do a scummy job, you should be told you do a scummy job. Minute 2, minus 6 seconds, 5 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. That concludes cards on item 12. Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Let's move on to item 13.
John Walsh, beginning minute 3. J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This concerns pollution reduction review. You didn't do a very good job on pollution reduction when it came out for the gas that was out there where the white people live. And they didn't complain for, 3 weeks? Until their children started hemorrhaging from the nose. I'm telling you right now, we have the worst air in L.A., and you can thank the gas company for that. And I just want to say to you white people, why does it take your children bleeding to death before you will go after the city? It's because the black people in this city would have been out in 10 seconds when they harm their children, but you white people don't give a damn. That's minute 3, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Next speaker on item 13 is Eric Previn. Mr. Previn, are you here? Item 13. Mr. Previn, are you going to speak on this item, yes or no?
Thank you. It's Eric Previn. It caught my attention, this item, because it has the term North Hollywood Heavy Duty Vehicle Maintenance and Repair Facility in it, but I didn't flag it as a CD2 item because it's not identified that way, so I was a little confused. That's why I'm not 100% briefed on it. I will look more closely, and if I have a salient point, I will raise it in the written form. But I just want to say that in terms of labeling these items, it would be helpful if, in fact, it is in our district to know that it's in our district. And whenever I see the great GSD, of course, my antenna go directly upward, and my concern is increased dramatically. So with this one, it's a capital improvement expenditure. Certainly, if it is in our district, at some point we'll hear about it, I assume. And if it's not, it's only $300,000, so what are we supposed to do? You know, let's not quibble over a few $100,000, Mr. Blumenfield, Mr. Cedillo, not during a homeless crisis. Thank you.
That concludes cards on item 13. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's open item 15 for reconsideration.
Madam President, should council vote on it now?
Yes. So let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Let's continue this item until next Wednesday, June 1st. Okay, let's move on to item 14. have cards on Mr. Walsh. Item 14, sir.
John Walsh blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or Jay Walsh Confidential tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Unless the city clerk wants to contradict, this is minute 4 of my 5 minutes. Offer for reward for information. Now remember, Terry Bennett killed over a year ago, May 9th, 2015. Anybody, snitches get stitches. You never get anybody, I keep asking you, give me 2 people who were caught through rewards. If you apply for this reward, someone inside the city hall will tip off the gangs, be paid off for the gangs, and you will be murdered. You will be murdered if you want to tell them who killed Terry Bennett and you want to testify. You will be murdered by the gangs and their gang auxiliary. That's it.
Next speaker, Mr. Sean, on item 14.
Yes, good morning. Sean Murphy. Item 14, I'm supporting. And your last presentation was a bunch of crap.
Thank you, Sean. That concludes cards on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Let's move on to item 16. I have cards on item 16. Sean, Mr. Walsh, and Eric Previn.
Yes, item 16, I am against this item.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mr. Walsh, followed by Eric Previn. Mr. Walsh passes on item 16. Mr. Previn, are you speaking on item 16, sir?
Thank you. It is the audio guy with us today, sir? There's no amplification. Right, but he's not. Okay, we can't hear. Okay, fine. That's very interesting. But yes, it's Eric Previn, and this is CD4. Mr. Rue and O'Farrell are recommending Swissman Urban Design, which is a group. It's SUIS, not Swiss. And this is a very nice firm. They've been doing it for many years, since 1991. I looked at some of their other projects. What caught my attention is that the museum, the Natural History Museum, is tagged, and it's the only one that appears on the face page. Whoever made the agenda created that, but it mentions the other museums in Rue's district. Of course, the Museum of Natural History is in Price's district. Now, everybody loves the Museum of Natural History, and the Peterson Museum, and certainly the Motion Picture Academy Museum, which is a lobbyist festival at the moment. I wonder if we really should be putting the money from his real property trust fund, that's largely grants from Universal and other groups, into facilitating the designation of a building that quite frankly has spent over $1 million in lobbying already, it was my understanding, to get approvals and various things going for the Motion Picture of America Museum, which, by the way, I think people are excited about, but they're also worried about based on the obviously recent scandals. I know this body is very tuned into the equity piece, and there's been some issues about, we saw during the Oscars this year. So, I don't know, $25,000, Mr. Rue is being very generous, and I think the misleading about the County Museum of Natural History, to be fair, the La Brea Tar Pits, which is a kind of subsidiary of the Museum of County Museum of Natural History, is in Mr. Rue's district, I believe. So that is fair. Thank you.
That concludes cards on this item. Madam Clerk, can you open the roll? Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to public comments. Sean?
Yeah, Sean Murphy. I want to let you guys know, be my last meeting next week, before summer. The choir's going to have a concert on the 5th of June at 7 p.m. Try to come to the concert. Have a nice Memorial Day, and I'll see you on Monday in Canoga Park.
Thank you, Sean, for that invitation. Have a nice weekend. Mr. Walsh, public comment, followed by Tommy Gibson and General Jeff.
Why is it started already? John Walsh. I'm 72 years old. Start the clock again. What scumbags you are. What absolute total scumbag Nury Martinez is. Nury Martinez started a fire here with her birthday cake. This whole building was evacuated. You remember that? Well, of course, there were 65 candles on the cake when the fire she started. But I just want everyone to see what they're doing to me. These people are vomitous, and there's no one worse than Rue. No one bigger scumbag than Rue. And I don't count Mr. Cedillo because he tells the truth. And I'm telling you right now, anybody but Englander for supervisor. HollywoodHighlands.org. And when I come on, it's 45 seconds. That's what you give this man? Scumbag.
Have a nice weekend, Mr. Walsh. Next speaker is Tommy Gibson. Tommy Gibson. Mr. Walsh, thank you. Tommy Gibson is the next speaker, and General Jeff.
My name is Tommy Gibson, and I'm from Missouri. I came out here about 5 years ago. I'm a veteran, honorably discharged, 6 years. I have 3 terminal illnesses. One of the reasons I'm here is because of the VA hospital, which has failed me. But I want you to know that I'm a veteran. It is not the taxpayer's responsibility to pass taxes to take care of me. It is the Veterans Administration's responsibility to house me, to feed me, to clothe me, to give me my needs. You have no right to tax the working people to take care of me. I came to California for a reason. I came here with a dream. I came here with hope. I live on the streets right now in my van. I haven't given up my dream, and I haven't given up my hope. There's 40,000 people on the streets in Las Vegas.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Thank you. The next speaker is General Jeff, followed by Eric Previn and Jacqueline Richardson.
Good morning, Council. General Jeff from Skid Row. I want to first start off by applauding this Council for making such a bold move to actually support the millionaire's tax moving forward, knowing that at a time when the city's budget is not big enough to effectively address homelessness in and of itself. It is great to see that this Council in the city of Los Angeles has taken a leadership and aggressive trailblazing efforts to address homelessness. Also, in light of recent events that have happened here in Council in regards to public speakers, and I think that this Council has done a wonderful job to address that. I would like this Council to revisit the option of potentially expanding public comment and returning it to 2 minutes, because 1 minute is not enough time to effectively add our voice to the conversations, especially on items extensively such as homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Eric Previn, followed by Jacqueline Richardson.
Greetings. It is Eric Previn, and from CD2. The city attorney, who I tried to chat with a little bit briefly, has once again apparently looked away from another problem. He didn't come to our Studio City Neighborhood Council launch, and now they're alleging that you're not allowed to write to other members of the Neighborhood Council via email and blind copy them. I mean, we were instructed by various members of the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment to engage in that conduct, and of course it's all open. We're very transparent focused, but the Neighborhood Empowerment Group is trying to shut down communication and It's very unclear why this would be yet another iteration of improper abnegation from the City Hall. Mr. Fuhr and Darren Martinez are now selectively responding to various things. It's completely improper, and I can only advise this body to get control of that group. I don't know if Ms. Liu has been is on Memorial Day leave or what's going on. Thank you.
Next speaker is Jacqueline Richardson, followed by Yvonne Michelle Autry.
This past Sunday, Monday, CBS and NBC reported there was voter fraud. The fraud occurs because people are using deceased or dead people's names. They reported that the people are using, these voters are using their names consistently. In Los Angeles County, there are about 250. In other counties, there are about 250 people that are consistently voting using those names. They contacted the Board of Supervisors, but the Board of Supervisors at that particular time didn't have a real quick method of pulling out those deceased names, canceling their names again. But one of the news agencies said they checked the coroner's rolls with a list of voters, and they pull them out real quick that way. I'm wondering if these people doing that are those false people or machines.
Thank you, Mrs. Richardson. The next speaker is Yvonne Michelle Autry.
Yes, 1 minute is not enough, and I really don't I don't appreciate how our constitutional rights to address our city-appointed officials is being undermined. And I'm going to keep saying this until I get what I want. I want my 40 acres, I want my mule, and I want my reparations. Too much money is being given to the immigrants, especially Hispanic immigrants, and I'm not a racist, but my people built this country. I'm Blackfoot, Comanche, Cherokee, African, Irish, Spanish, Italian, and French. So we can't own the planet, but we can and we have to share. Notwithstanding, your character assassinations, I do not want my reparations in the form of a tent on San Julian where you're giving too much money to police who are being commissioned to rape and murder black women and other brothers like Brother Africa because of the money given to the police in this under martial law. We're not in a police state. We are not. And there's too much money given to the police.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you, Madam Clerk. That concludes public comment. What's before us? Can you, Mrs. Autry, thank you. Lovely. Have a nice weekend, ma'am.
Madam President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
Posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Members, are there any announcements? Mr. Buscaino, do you have an announcement, sir? You do not. Anyone else? Mr. Blumenfield, an announcement?
Canoga Park Memorial Day Parade coming up Monday morning. Great event in the West Valley. Anybody who's interested, come by. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, no one else? Mr. Fuentes, no announcements? Mr. Cedillo, announcements?
Cypress Park Veterans Memorial, tomorrow, Cypress Park, 11 to 12 p.m.
Great. Any other announcements? Members and members of the audience, can you please rise for adjourning motions? Any adjourning motions on my left? Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I'm saddened to announce the passing of Lisa Diane Sardisco, who passed away on May 18th. Lived in San Pedro her entire life and graduated from Mary Star to the Sea School and from Loyola Marymount University. Worked at Providence Health and Services. She loved, her loves included traveling, music, and spending time with her family and friends. She is survived by her loving mother, Rosemary, her sisters, Annette and Dominique, numerous nieces and nephews, tons of cousins. Tremendous loss for San Pedro. Just full of spirit and just very loving. She would truly be missed. Her funeral service was held this past Wednesday at McNerney's. Donations can be made in Lisa's name to the American Cancer Society. Lisa Diane Sardisco, may she rest in peace. Thank you.
Any other announcements? I'm sorry, adjourning motions on my left. Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much,
Madam Chair, I ask the Council to join me in adjourning in the memory and celebration of one John Thomas Young. John was born in Los Angeles in 1949. In 1967, he graduated from Mount Carmel High School, where he was an all-league baseball and basketball player. He was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, but turned down their offer to attend Chapman College, where he played on their Division II championship baseball team in 1968. He was drafted in the first round by the Detroit Tigers in 1969, but appeared in only 2 major league games. He went on from there to play up until 1978 in the minor leagues, and in 1978 he was recruited to be the first African-American director of scouting for the Detroit Tigers. He also scouted for the Padres and Marlins. He grew up in South Central Los Angeles at a time when baseball was immensely popular. We had active baseball activities in all of our parks, and a lot of African American and Latino young people were pursuing baseball as a career path. By the time he became a scout in the 1980s, he realized that there was a dearth of baseball talent coming out of our inner cities in Los Angeles and around the country, and he created, with the help of our mayor, Tom Bradley, something called Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities, or RBI, in his hometown of South LA at Harvard Park in the 8th Council District. The program was originally aimed at boys in their early teens, but teenagers and young adults began to try out and get involved in the program. By the end of the first season, over 180 children were participating. RBI soon got expanded throughout Los Angeles and to other cities in the United States. It proved successful in fostering major league talent, including Coco Crisp and Justin Upton of the Yankees and pitcher CeCe Sabathia. John is survived by his wife, the former Cheryl Shannon, and his 2 sons. And we will, at Elgin Sutton Park, where our RBI was, be dedicating a square very soon.
Thank you. Mr. Weezer?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Moon Gun Kenneth Kim. Mr. Kim is the father-in-law of our former downtown staffer, Miguel Vargas. I'd like to read into the record an eulogy by Tina Kim, Miguel's wife, and Mr. Kim's daughter. Moon Gun Kenneth Kim was born on August 31st, 1952 in Busan, Korea. He attended one of the greatest universities in Korea, Yonsei University, where he studied public administration and law. In 1977, Mr. Kim moved to Los Angeles to work for a local company. His intention was never to permanently stay in LA, but then he met a beautiful woman that had no intentions of leaving Los Angeles, Annie Choi. Moon Gun eventually married Annie, and the 2 of them settled down and started their family. In so many ways, Mr. Kim was what some might call a stereotypically immigrant man, stoic, hardworking, and gruff. He would never share information about himself unless asked, but he also had another side to him that shattered any preconceived notions. He loved making his 2 daughters, Jenny and Tina, laugh. He loved the 3 tenors, My Way by Frank Sinatra. He loved purchasing strange things from Costco, like a blood pressure machine or a back massager, and he loved Dodger baseball more than anything else. Mr. Kim always wanted the best for his family, which is why he urged his daughters to study and educate themselves. His oldest daughter, Tina, graduated from Pomona College, and his second daughter, Jenny, graduated from UCLA. When both of his daughters brought home B's, Mr. Kim did not, he was angry. He told his daughters, I want you to think of the student loans you've taken out to attend these colleges and ask yourself if B's cost that much money. His daughters never brought home B's again. Mr. Kim also taught his daughters the importance of giving back. Jenny, after graduating from UCLA, went to work for the Little Tokyo Service Center, which is a community service organization in Council District 14. Jenny worked for the organization for a few years before moving on to help other service-oriented community organizations. Tina, after graduating from college, began teaching at Locke High School in South LA. After teaching for many years, Tina left LAUSD to become the site director for College Track, which services the students in Boyle Heights, which is also in Council District 14. Mr. Kim was a little disappointed his daughters did not become lawyers or doctors, but he ultimately understood his daughters' need to love the work they do and also their desire to give back to the community. Mr. Kim himself was a successful businessman who owned his own business in downtown's fashion district. In the summer of 2014, Mr. Kim was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. It was not until after his diagnosis that his family learned how many good friends Moon Gun had. Kenneth's friends, some of whom he's known since childhood, started to appear left and right. One of Mungan's friends would go shopping for him every week. Another friend flew in at least once a month from Texas just to spend time with him. Mr. Kim even had friends fly in from Paris and Korea to see him. In fact, Mr. Kim would try to time his chemotherapy to his friends' visits so that he could be in the best shape for them, even if it meant delaying treatment for a week. When Mr. Kim was first diagnosed, he was told the average survival time for individuals with this type of cancer was 6 months. Mr. Kim fought cancer for almost 2 years. He was a strong man with a strong mind. The Kim family will forever miss Kenneth, but they know the best parts of him will live on through his daughters and his teachings. Mungan Kenneth Kim passed away Monday, May 23rd, surrounded by the family who loved him. Thank you, and may Mr. Mungan Kenneth Kim rest in peace. Sounds like a wonderful man, that he lived a great American dream. Thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, if you'll indulge me, I want to adjourn in the memory of my first favorite actor, Alan Young, who I remember watching when I was 6 years old. He was an Emmy Award-winning comedian. He won an Emmy in 1953 for a variety show that he had at the time. And then George Burns, who was not only a comedian but a producer, had a series that he did a pilot for that failed. And then he said, why don't we ask Alan Young to do this? He looks like someone that a horse would talk to. Now, Alan Young wound up being the actor that shared the TV screen with Mr. Ed. Those of you who are old enough to remember, this was a great show about a man who bought a home, and he found the barn that was in back actually had a talking horse that would talk to him, and only him. They trained the horse to move its mouth when he got finished talking, and they had a very famous cowboy star who was never credited on the show named Rocky Lane, who had a wonderful deep voice, and he would stand just off camera. And so it almost appeared, even to Alan, that he was speaking with the horse. And they all developed an amazing rapport. It was a wonderful show. I'll never forget it. When he was done with this show, he went off in a different direction. He became the communications director for the Christian Science movement for several years. Then he came back to showbiz, and he wound up being a voiceover actor. He did the voices of Scrooge McDuck and Smurfs and all kinds of other characters. And he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, and may you rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Anyone else on my right? Mr. Cedillo?
Members, I don't have all the details. This came to me late last night when I got home. But I want us to close the memory of Richard Maldonado. Richard Maldonado is one of the best athletes in the history of East Los Angeles. He played Pop Warner football in the emerging King Conference, played on a championship team, and then he played on Garfield High's, one of their best football teams in 1971. They went to the semifinals, and he was their star running back. He was a pole vaulter, shot put, and a sprinter. He was a really, really extraordinary athlete. He was a man who was the life of the party. Became involved in the 70s and 80s and to the end with Good Shepherd Christian Church in Boyle Heights, and was a member of one of the affiliates of that church. And last night, tragically, suddenly, coming home, pulled into a driveway, brought some food home. Nephew went out to find out why his uncle hadn't come in, and found him. He had just passed away from a heart attack. And it's just amazing that we all have a date, we all have a time, and Richard's day had come. If you look at his recent postings on Facebook, you see him talking about the basketball games and how great he feels, and it's just amazing that this man who was really that person who's always the life of the party whenever you show up, the biggest smile, the biggest welcome, the biggest embrace, the loudest voice, it's now gone from us in a second. So I'll get more details. I may not be here Tuesday. I trust there may be a funeral, but I wanted to make sure that this city, a graduate of Garfield High School, knew that we closed in memory of Richard Maldonado.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. May he rest in peace. Any other adjournments, members? Not. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.